Ladies and gentlemen, Hulkamania is dead. Bitcoin mania is here. The whole crypto market is going wild. Scott, we have to follow the rules and show all the disclosures so we won't get shut down by our friends down in compliance. And I'm here, of course, with Scott Redler and David Prince because we need to figure out what is going on in this wild and wacky crypto market. So I can see on my screen right now, Bitcoin is up 10% in the last week. So, David, you're our special guest. We'll go to you first. What is driving Bitcoin?
I think animal spirits. I really think you can kind of measure how people feel, what they're willing to buy, how aggressive they're willing to be at certain points in the market, and whether it be China specifically and what just happened there. And some people may say one has nothing to do with the other. I really believe it tells you how hungry people are for other things outside of Mag 7. And then you look at nuclear theme and what's happened with stocks like Oklo and NNE, and it tells you the animal spirits are out. And what's, for lack of a better term, what's the blue chip of the risk assets? That would be Bitcoin, right? When you go out high on the high end of risk assets, it's Bitcoin, which has been basing for how long up here. It all kind of came together. And then finally, it's the end of the year and risk assets love to go up November, December. And then the creme de la creme is Trump's leading in the polls. So it's like the perfect combination, perfect storm is how I view it.
Okay, Scott, what do you think? What is driving Bitcoin here? Is this purely technicals or is there something behind the scenes?
Before we start, my buddy Prince, we're together, we're boys. Michael, the three of us have probably been the longest standing T3 guys in a while. It is Friday. It is 3:04. Everyone get a beverage from wherever it is in your house. Dave's a little fancy. He's got the fancy tequila.
I'm sick. I grabbed something from the fridge. I was told Scott's coming on. He has a beer. He wants you to have a drink. So here I am, guys.
All right. Well, I got an all-day IPA. I'm going to pour it in this little red glass. You're sick. What's the matter, Dave?
Oh, it's just the kids came home with colds. Don't be 54 and have
little bastards.
7-year-olds. They're terrorists.
Wow, you got young kids. You got young kids. You got horses. You got NFTs. You have like things everywhere. That's good. Cheers.
Cheers. By the way, happy weekend. Happy and healthy.
Happy and healthy. Dave and I were in the Ukraine together before the bastards went in there and invaded. And we had a great time with over 100 traders around the world. And they taught us a little thing. They said, here's to technical analysis, right, that unites continents. So we did it around the world. Michael, you weren't there, but I've told you about it a bunch of times. You come in the next time as soon as the war is over. That's why we're going to get Trump. No, I'm kidding. No politics.
And he's going to tell you how you have to go for this massage where you go in a sauna and they beat the hell out of you with a stick. When he went for that, I avoided it. He's like, you got to come with me to get naked and they beat you with a stick. I said, Scott, you go get naked and get beaten with a stick. I'll see you afterwards.
You took a nap, I think. You went and took a nap. I went with the boys. I got hit with some sticks, and there's no fugazi stuff that happens in these. Everyone thinks that the Russian bathhouses, like there's like 10 Russian women waiting for you.
I think there were men beating you up, actually.
It was like it's the big Russian guys. But it's all right. They do it in all good health. So we had a great trip. And it just, the two of us, the three of us have been trying to educate traders around the world for a long time. And, as much as we want to have fun, it's a serious game because we all do it for a living. If you don't do it well, you don't make money. If you don't do it well, you don't provide for your family. So we try and make sure we're up as early as possible with our routine and our process so we could deliver to you guys, what we're thinking. And sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes it's right. I think last week, like Michael said, both of us were like really kind of focusing on Bitcoin and the crypto sector, not because I'm what do they call the big guy, the Bitcoin crazy guys, the maxis?
Is it maxis? I don't even know. That's how little I know.
Yeah, like the Bitcoin maxis. Like
I'm definitely not one of them because I don't even know.
I have a Coinbase credit card and I've used that from time to time. So I know there is things you could do with Bitcoin, and I know what a few different countries started using it as their their currency. But the bottom line is Bitcoin, just like gold, is an asset. You could buy it every single month and put it part of your asset allocation plan. Or when it's ready to go, you could trade it and make money and hopefully do well and get paid on it. And this last week, a lot of people made a lot of money in Bitcoin, in some of the miners, some of the
proxies are making up to some degree, right? Some of these moves are not just about Bitcoin; it's the underappreciated assets saying, "Whoa, maybe
a little bit of everything." You know,
yeah.
that's why we do this, so you can get these these sequences that happen. So the funny thing is, like Mike, what you said is like, it feels like there's animal spirits in Bitcoin, right? Like animal spirits. Could you just go to my chart for 1 second, the weekly chart? Bitcoin is in the same spot it was March 4th in 2000. This is 8 months of just, consolidation, a little bit of tough times. Like I know I lost money here. I thought it was going to happen here after the halving, and it didn't work. I thought it was going to happen here, and it didn't work. So although this feels really good because we timed this really well last week, Mike, I want you to post a picture of the turkey trot, which is also pretty funny because the AI. Like this is having a good move, but this hasn't done anything yet. Like this is the daily. Actually, let's go to the weekly chart. You go to the weekly chart of Bitcoin, and this just poked its head above 66K. Like you're talking that there is room if they want this thing to go.
You're the expert chartist. Isn't that, forget how long the base is. Like clearly you just showed us that's like an enormous base, but is this not an enormous cup and handle too?
Yeah. Like you could say if I want to just do some squiggly lines. So here's the one side, here is the bottom side. Here is, so this is a huge cup. And then if you want to talk handles, this is a handle like you read about.
Right.
And if you want to do a measured move from 20,000 to 70,000, so what's that? 20 to 70, 50 on top of 70, that gets you 120. So
I'm happy with 100, but yeah,
I'll take 85. I'm just saying. Then Tom Lee and Kathy Wood and all these crazy Bitcoin people, which I'm not. Oh, there it is. Look, so this was 1 week ago, right?
That's cool.
This is right. What there's a date on there? Yeah, October 11th. What's today? October 18th. So if you want to say that we don't give you things prior to the move, you're out of your mind. Dave is one of the best in the business doing it. Mike puts all our stuff out there. And it was funny too, because with this, that's how cool AI is. I was showing one of my friends, I'm like, Mike, I'm going to do the turkey trot with Chase. I do it every single year, usually over Thanksgiving. The mother-in-law, the taxi driver, everyone's talking about Bitcoin. I'm like, so maybe we have a run until then. I'm like, let's do a turkey trot. So he sends me the first turkey, which was like a flimsy turkey. Do you have the first turkey?
No, not offhand. A lot of that
this
stuff
is the Redler.
Yeah, I have the first turkey. I'm going to put the first turkey up. It was like this little scraggly little turkey. I'm like, give him more muscles, make him sweat. And then 10 seconds later, that's how sick AI is. He gave me this. I was like, ooh, let's do it. And these were probably the 4 things that I focused on, and here we are a week later, and a lot of money to be made.
And Scott, I can't believe you haven't mentioned the pink socks.
I didn't. You know what? That is fantastic. I always race in pink.
I give Michael credit for that. You always point out pink socks, honor of your mother, breast cancer. So he fit that in. I want to say one thing because we should go over what Scott just showed you. Like anyone in the business knows, the longer the base, the more reliable, the more potentially powerful a breakout is. That's in essence, like forget about the last week. What he just showed you is that Bitcoin's had one of its longer basing processes in a long time. So, by the way, that background is so cool, Scott's in. Okay, that's insane. But anyway,
you were sleeping in the Ukraine when I went to this thing.
It's pretty exciting, just to see it try and break out of a base like that. And I think we all know buying breakouts right now sometimes could be really painful. Look at what happened to Apple this week. Look what happened to NVIDIA. So recognizing it last week is important. So you can let it work for you instead of, having no room for error and first buying today.
True. And then I want to go over another tactic because some people I know you did this, I did this, and it was a lot. It was like, it just was a perfect scenario. So I'll say it. I've never traded Mr. in my life.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm just saying, a lot of people have made so much money. I've done other things in crypto. I like Saylor. I think he's a little nuts at times.
He's totally nuts, but he's a genius.
He's got passion and he's got conviction. If you have passion and conviction and you're right, you're going to friggin' kill it. As a trader, it's hard to have passion and conviction. I can have passion about my my routine and my process and things like that, I can have conviction when it works. But I'm learning that in your conviction trades, you better start putting real money to work because they don't happen that often. So, Mr. was a edgy type of trade. Like, I'm going to give a props to Lou Forte. He's my man. He's one of the few active traders that are still in this business from the Daytech days. And he was saying like how Mr. had an edge because when Bitcoin went down, Mr. didn't go down. And when Bitcoin went up, it went up a lot. And Mr. made a new high well before, Bitcoin did. And Bitcoin obviously is not even there yet.
It's still haven't. 227 or whatever it was came last week or the beginning of this week, and I think it was last week. And literally, Bitcoin was still 4,000 points away from an all-time high. So that tells you about relative strength. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the red dog reversal. By the way, Prince, do you have like a name or for any trades? Are you as narcissistic as me? You like the glasses, the round
I don't have names. I make fun of all these charts. I call it like the upside down fruitcake. I sometimes say RDR. I sometimes say Ricky reversal.
Wait.
Basically, I say, hey, listen.
Whoa. The Ricky reversal?
Ricky's on the chat. I got to be fair and make everyone feel.
It's a coin trade. The red dog reversal.
Okay. Out of fairness, this is a coined method by you. That works. That tons of people, I give you total credit for that. What I do say is, hey, listen, red dog, RDR, we basically broke a level and came back above. And there's no doubt that is a classic way to kind of quantify how much risk you want to take with a good level that generally provides solid risk reward. And that's obviously what MSTR did. I think the difference with us is I like to buy ugly. So
that's your phrase, buying ugly.
So I bought some yesterday, 187, before it recaptured that level. And then what I did is back above 192. I said, you actually shouldn't be selling. This is a buy signal for a lot of people. I'm guessing that's exactly when you probably stepped in and said, this is a great buy versus not getting back below.
Well, I want to see Michael. I have the chart of Mr. up. I want you to explain with the Mr. chart, the red dog reversal. You've been quoting me and talking about it and doing it for a while, and I know you've learned it. Like, I want to hear you explain the red dog reversal right here. Come on, Mikey.
I want you to do something for me, Scott. I want you to zoom in on the chart so I can actually see what the hell is going on here.
Good for him for saying that.
And but by the way, I think, David, we do need to come up with some kind of signature phrase for you where you make enough money to actually pay all the horse bills.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, okay, so Mr. went down in this case 3 days in a row, then it went below the prior day's low and reclaimed it.
What was that pivot price?
I believe it was here. I'll look. I believe it was 190.
I'm not talking to you, Prince. This is Michael.
I cannot see on the screen, Scott. It's too tiny. I cannot see.
Hold on. Can you see now?
No, it's microscopic. It's the low of that day, Scott. We've established that.
So this low was 189.70. So from 227 to 189.70, it fell about 30 points. And this also was important. It was also the prior breakout. So you had two things working in your favor. So it went below.
Can I say one thing? Because I have the exact number. Because it really is your strategy out of fairness. The RDR came into effect when it got below, it's right here, it got below 191.96. So the minute it reclaimed that level,
by the way, it was a double.
It officially was an RDR.
There was a double because you had 189.70 from the 15th, then you had 191.96. You had 2 points of reference. So it did go below both and come back above. So you were probably buying ugly because you're like 227 to here. I'm going to just buy it.
My plan was to buy, it was, hey, this is the leader. This is where I'm going to get my alpha. I'm bullish Bitcoin. Look at the size of the pullback. We're now coming on 30 some odd points. I'm going to buy half here. And if we go as low as the 21 day, I'll be at a full position, which frankly was below 180. So I can't pretend I bought a full position. I said, I like it a lot here. I'm buying half right now, ugly 187, 186. And I really did. I hope we get below 180 and it just turned.
So now, did you buy the stock or did you buy options?
I bought the stock.
Are you still in the stock?
Yeah, still in.
Nice. I bought the options.
Probably
made as a percentage. I probably would have made more money if I bought the stock, but I bought the 210 calls. I accumulated it from 11 down to about 8. And right now, I think they're like 216. So they were 50%. But I probably would have made more money if I would have just bought the damn stock, you know.
I'm being a bit more patient when I buy stock lately. So I still am like 80% stock because I'm like, okay, I can also, you don't get the chop, you don't get the erosion because I didn't know it was going to turn that day. So unless I'm sure the turn is happening that day, and the day we bought it, I wasn't really confident it was turning till I saw like 194, 195. So I just stuck with stock. Looking back, I wish I bought calls too.
No, but it goes to show you that you could do it two ways. You could buy stock, you could buy options, whatever you want to do. You could do both. People on the alpha team know when I buy options, I'm kind of thinking there's something happening, but when I buy options and then I buy the stock, that means the trade actually turned on. So
it's exactly what I am. If I buy options, it means I'm kind of thinking about it. I like it. If I buy stock and options, it means I'm 100% in. I love the idea.
And this one worked really well. And we had Mike, did we put this out as a power play yesterday? Like send it to every subscriber that we have that pays.
We did. So Scott, we need to address one of our fellows in the chat has a problem. So Condos on the Beach, he's saying, Redler, you're 70 points late on MicroStrategy.
I'm not part of that. I bought it at 122 originally a few weeks ago. I'm just
right
saying.
Here, probably right.
I bought it at 122 bucks. I wrote it down to 113 and then wrote it up.
Okay.
Can we point out a chart? Well, since we're talking Bitcoin,
I have the chart right up here.
Yeah.
What do you want?
A different one that I think Redler should look at.
Okay.
It's the low end of the totem pole. Redler said something really important. He said Bitcoin hasn't moved that much, but now a lot of these stocks are, right? Like Bitcoin's not exploding today. There's a stock called HUT, lower end, not quality.
No, HUT's quality. HUT actually, a lot of institutions.
Well, no, my partner owns like half the float. Just to be fair, I want to be upfront. Like we own a ton of it. And I actually said to sell some today, but look at the size of that move. I'm just saying underneath the hood, it's not just about Bitcoin. There's certain laggards to focus on now. I didn't know if you saw that. Look at the size of the move, but look at that chart.
Yeah, I mean, that's an insane I played chart. Way back in the day, and like I brought it to like 4 different people, and I didn't play it. That's, I guess, our job as the chief strategic officer, and how you moderate the inner circle. Like I didn't do it because you know what? I had Mara calls on, I had Mr. calls on.
Well, you can't be in them all.
Right? Calls on. I have the Wolf's calls on. Wow.
This one has a big short position. Yeah. And the smartest money in AI, which is why this is really moving. It's no longer really a Bitcoin play. It's a lot more like cores and APLD. This is about power and AI. And you got Kotu, the smartest money in AI, involved. They just did a big convertible debt deal. So it's got a lot more credibility. This is one to, do you buy it today up 15%? No, but it's one to, you definitely keep your eyes on. I think that measured move just back to highs would be pretty insane. So just wanted to point out there's a lot of laggards moving today.
Okay.
Because you're getting follow through in Bitcoin. Now it's like, all right. It took a while for Mara, Riot, CLSK to some people like, wait, Red Dog, why isn't cores?
I only bought IBIT, honestly, up till MicroStrategy because I was like, sometimes the Bitcoin miners work, sometimes they don't. I feel like I'm getting like old waiting for it. So I just stuck with IBIT for a while.
Yeah. No, last Friday I'm still in it too. And I said, as we extend, the shorts get a little bit more scared, and then you go down the food chain. So the first one, if you look at the charts real quickly, was like Dave said, it was CORZ. So we were buying this at the last open house around 1040 when Bitcoin wasn't even waking up, and then it had a move. And everyone's like, why is it just hanging here? I'm like, because everyone just made really good money from 10 to 13 or from here. I'm like, now they're going to the laggards that people didn't believe in, and the shorts are getting squeezed. So you could see like a Mara, just got above this 819 probably.
Stop right there. Seriously, I brought up this exact scenario. A guy in my chat today said, Cores is stuck. I said, Cores is up 100% from the lows of July. Mara is up 30, 40, 50%. It's got catching up to do. So Scott's absolutely right. They go to the blue chip of the space first. It already moved. And now they're going to the catch-up plays. And I use Mara as the exact example.
Yeah, and our buddy Jake. I love Jake. I don't know. I posted and say people were beating me up about posting Jake. I think Jake's very.
There's some schmucks out there that don't like him. He's a good guy.
I think he's a great guy. I love Jake. But whatever. I just because he was all over this move too. Like he's been.
Yeah, last night. It's funny. I was psyched. I respect his work. I put up a bunch of Bitcoin charts and talked about Bitcoin because I could feel there was a move coming. So I went over all the charts and I saw he did the same thing. He's been really bullish Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well,
you know what? But I want to put something out there. Jake puts. You know why people don't like him somewhat, and most people do, because he puts himself out there, which is more than most people do. I think when you're willing to take risk and actually say it before it happens, right or wrong, I'll take that any day of the week. To me, that's.
I agree. We do that too, but sometimes some people get stubborn and they stick with the trade that gets.
And then you blame. Yeah, I mean that's
their problem. But but the thing is, when you have conviction on a trade and it works, that's what makes your year. So it's like if you have an idea that doesn't work and you stick with it a little longer, chances are you're not adding to it. You lose a little bit of money, but it's fine. But if you have really conviction in the trade and it goes, that usually only happens a bunch of times a year. And that's what's supposed to make your year.
Scott and I were chatting on the phone, texting about this the other day. I'd say literally 80% of your year should be about, 10 or 20% of your ideas, right? Like your special ideas are what really dictate your year, not being right 70% of the time. So I respect the guys who are loud and very aggressive that get it right on those few ideas. I don't care if they're right 80% of the time.
No, but I get that. But what I do have a problem with sometimes if they get louder when they're wrong, because that's how.
Oh, no. Double downing. I mean, you got to live to play another day, 1,00000%. Especially in our game where there are people with minimal books listening to us. So I always tell people, listen, you have to, your lifeline is your capital. So I don't care if I'm right eventually. If it means you have to wait 6 months and you have X amount of dollars and you're putting too much into one idea that's not working, opportunity cost is too great. So in the end, you got to take your losses, and not every idea works for everyone.
And you have to know, I like, because we're older and we're, I'm a founding partner of T3. You're part of the whole crew.
I'm just old.
No, but I'm saying there's a 27-year-old that gets paid for, every month, and you have to time that every month. We have things, I'm 52 when I post.
Liquidity is everything. Bottom line. You need liquidity. Could you imagine if you were fully invested? I remember I was not feeling great about August 5th, not because I knew that moment was coming. I just didn't love the market. So I had enough capital that when that moment came, it made my summer. I mean, it literally made my summer. Someone who's 27 can't be stuck and on a day like August 5th be selling instead of buying. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Got to mind your capital.
And mind your time frame. So I get that. What up, Mikey? How we doing?
We are doing.
You're the host. You got to move us on to the next thing. You want to talk disco?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember talking to two people at the same time that yap so much. I'm just trying to stay out of the way here. Okay, so I'll throw out a question to both of you guys. How much of this run in crypto is due to expectation of Trump winning?
Who the hell knows?
I'm going 50% out of fairness.
How would you say?
The recent move, I'd say 50% in terms of the last week. It feels like it all ran together. I think it would have happened anyway, but maybe the last week, we keep seeing the polls creep up. So
why? Because he says when he gets all the bad guys crypto, he's not going to sell it to the open market, so it's less supply.
I actually think it's just because he's very pro Bitcoin, because he's out there doing his own coin, because he just seems to be embracing the idea, and that's enough to Bitcoin people is what my gut's been. In terms of the overall market, I think he might be a more negative. I mean, we're going to see tariffs, all that stuff, but it feels like it's been decided about a year ago or 6 months ago that when it comes to Bitcoin, it's Trump over Kamala. That feels like a very much in place.
Right. That's why if you probably post the solar stocks, they're getting beat up because she's
exactly
alternative energy, FSLR, that whole spiel. I get it. So you know what? November 5th is far away. So let's keep this trade going. Yep. I love when things are fast and furious. I love when laggards play catch up. I love when leaders lead. Like even again, you talk about Mr. It's like, Mr. made a new high well before crypto did. So what it did is probably in here, it probably got some shorts in there because it's like, oh, well, Mr. can't go up when Bitcoin's going up, but they realize that, hey, Bitcoin hasn't even gone to 85 or 90 or 100,000. It's not even at 70 yet, and this was at an all-time high. So they squeezed the shorts, they baited some in, and now if Bitcoin gets above 73 and goes to 78 or 80, I don't know why this wouldn't be 250 plus. So the same thing with CORZ. Don't get caught here because it's lagging. It's faltering. It's not lagging or faltering. It just had a huge move. So let everyone get out. Let everyone get short in the next move. I'm sure this is going to get above 1350. And my friends who are institutionally in this, they think 1718 in the next 3 to 6 months.
So someone said to me today, they're like, it doesn't feel like a trading stock. And I said, that's because it's an institutionally held stock. Coors is a buy and hold stock. When it's ugly, institutions step in, they buy it. It's not day traders running this thing. Coors is kind of the stock you just buy and put away, if you want exposure to that part of the arena. And it feels like it's clearly the one everyone wants.
Mike, let's move over to NVIDIA and some of the semis, because I think everyone's like, Red Dog, NVIDIA sucks today. I'm like, I didn't trade NVIDIA once today because it has to pack.
I actually haven't touched it today either. Oh no, I bought some calls. Today, but I haven't bought stock today. Let me tell you, I want to tell you my thought, because I think we talked about this.
Yeah, let's go.
The more
NVIDIA right now,
the more this happens, the shakeout. Like Scott and I talked on the phone early in the week, and we're like, yeah, NVIDIA was easier. Like when it tanked the other day at 129, I bought it. I mean, I bought it in size. I sold most of it by 132, and I'm still long, but most I was gone by 132. But my point is, he said, and I agreed, it was an easier buy at 129 than 140. But here's the good news. I really believe in this. Forget fundamentals. Like, let's not talk TSM for a second. Fundamentals, PE. Just all this fake outs, all this momentum and then breakdowns and momentum breakdown are shaking so many sellers out. I think once it gets above 140, it'll be a pretty fluid, powerful breakout, because this period is shaking out all the sellers. What do you think, Scott? I think it's actually really bullish for when it gets over.
This is what happened. Okay, so I think we were talking on this day. Go to the chart, Mikey, please. And I'm like, this is not a really good trade, because you were like, how much size do we take if we get above 140? I'm like,
it's 144. We chatted.
Like it was an easier trade at the Red Dog reversal here, or even at the 125, because it was like just breaking up. I'm like, here, it could get above it, but it's going to be so hard to be sustained. And then all of a sudden the ASML news happened. And like I saw on Dave was buying the dip. I also bought the 140 calls for next week into this, which I don't normally do. Dave's taught me how to buy ugly. I usually don't. I like to buy high and sell higher, but in this tape, you have to buy it when it looks bad. So anyway, so this happened. And then all of a sudden TSM came out. And if you look at the chart right now, this is a beautiful inside day. Like we're trading other things while NVIDIA is rebuilding. So now, after being extended, it goes sideways here. The 8-day catches up. It's no longer extended. It now has a platform. Yeah. So I'm also buying 145s for next week. I still have some 142s. I think it's going to lull everyone. Plus, there's a huge open interest at 140 because everyone
totally agree with this thought.
So they have to let that
lull everyone to sleep, and then all of a sudden, who knows why, it's above 140, and it's a sustained breakout that lasts more than a couple dollars.
Yes, I think anyone watching right now could probably be buying 145s for next week or the week after if you want to be safe.
And I bought 140s today. I said, I don't want to focus on it. I've been focused on MSTR and other things. I said, but I think now that it's basing here and the erosion's out, we're at the end of the week. I said, I'll add, I have stock, but let me add some calls. So I kind of agree there. And obviously TSM already, listen, TSM told us that NVIDIA is going to have a beat and raise quarter. That's the news we got this week. So
news brief. Yeah. And you know what? And ASML got some guys out, shook it up, and that's what you needed. So now this next, I'd even rather on Monday not do anything. And then next Tuesday, let's call it next Tuesday is the day.
But by the way, because you're the Tesla guy, I know it's earnings, but if you look, Tesla's now had like 5 or 6 inside days too. So this move is going to be pretty big, no?
Yeah. So I have not done great with Tesla this year because it hasn't been great. It hasn't been a leader.
It's not the same gap and go every day, but look at those inside days. I mean, it's going to be a powerful move. Right?
So this is what I did today. Okay, and I'll explain it. I bought, where's the VTF? Hold on. I bought options today for after the election. Everyone's like, Redler, what about, the after election trade, because if Trump wins, he's so all in Trump. You got to believe there's going to be an emotional lift on Tesla, which I agree. So I went out and said, you know what, if you're going to buy Tesla for the the election trade, you have to only buy half, because if they have earnings and earnings are coming out, which might not be
Wednesday or Thursday, you want to be able to buy more.
You want to buy more. So I bought, if you look here, so I could put this, I think, in here. Can you guys see? There's the Alpha Team. I just sold this CYBN, by the way. This was, you probably know this in the municipal, like the.
Yeah, I haven't bought it, but I know it.
Anyway, we could talk about that. Oh my God, all these options. Everyone, for 2 weeks, everyone was like, Red Dog, you have all these options. Are you scared? I'm like, I have a reason for all of these trades that I'm in. But anyway, what did I buy today? And it's good. You can see it on the Alpha Team. If I go to, where the hell is Tesla? I bought a 1036 tab, bought the 240s because they weren't that expensive. They're like $5. I'm like, if Trump wins, chances are you're going to have a big rally. If earnings are better than feared, you could have a decent rally. So I bought some, and I'll add to that. So the 240 really is right here. That's the inflection point. Gets above there. Then you have this whole, what maybe our boy, what's his face calls the volume shelf. But anyway, so I did. I'm not.
Wait, don't skip over that. Volume shelves. You know me. I make fun of charts. I use them every day, but I don't know what half the terms are. Do you use volume shelves? Like, is that part of your shtick or no?
Yeah, I don't do it myself, but I'll tell you, I look at Jake's stuff also. By the way, Jake is a younger gentleman. He's like 32 years old. I think we both trained him a little bit. He doesn't give anyone credit, but he was part of our anyway. So there are like Brian Shannon, I like him a lot too. He talks a lot about anchored VWAP.
Right.
So there's a little bit you could take from everyone out there. And I'm not and I'm an advocator. I believe you could follow.
Okay, so you like this stuff. It's just you didn't use it originally, but you include it.
I just don't have enough time in the day to be I don't even know how. Maybe we're doing Trend Spider stuff starting in November, because I use Trend Spider. I have a 630 Club where 10,000 people watch a video. I don't get paid by Trend Spider. I just use their charts because I like it. So he's going to give us analytical ways to be a little bit more precise, using their indicators. So I'm sure that all I have to do is press a button and I can see a volume shelf. I just don't have it on there because I'm a cocktail napkin technician, and I'd rather have a drink with you guys and use relative strength and price points.
That's what I do. It works, but that's me. I'm
not
very
this
fancy.
Is tight. Next week, prior, I wouldn't want to, next week prior to numbers, if it gets above this what's this 224? Is that what
it's 224, 225 doesn't have a gap fill of a few points like that, right?
There could be a cash flow trade there.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't and it breaks this, that means nobody thought it was on sale and that gap leads in the same direction. Like here you have a bear flag, move lower, gap that doesn't get filled, you start breaking this area, then I'll lose on my options, which is risk is premium paid. I don't really care.
Mike, we should talk. One thing we hadn't chatted about. I'm curious what Scott thinks. So all week, small caps led up till the last day or so with TSM. You think we get through 228 and land at 240 or so, or maybe this was it?
No, I don't think this is it. I think that here's the IWM. I lost money, to be honest, on this trade. I pre-CPI, I bought a lot of options for Thursday. It didn't work Thursday, it worked Friday. And then I was like, screw this. But anyway, it looks pretty good. Let the 8-day catch up. You go to the weekly chart of the IWM. I think the first.
I guess what I'm asking is, what's the measure move when it gets over 228?
232 is the spot, and then 244 is the high. So this is the weekly chart. I did this today. I don't know if there's an actual measured move, but from 210 to 228, I don't even know how many points is that. 221,
18 points. If you said 210, 228.
I would think this can go to 244, and if it does, I'm gonna make a lot of money on the individual names. I'm probably not going to do it.
That's been my thing. I haven't been as worried about IWM. I was like, IWM's working. Okay, Upstart's working even more. Affirm's working even more. So, but obviously, for those names to keep working, we need IWM to keep working for these.
I don't even think people know what the hell's in the IWM. It's so fun. Everyone knows what's in the Qs. They know what's in the SMHs. It's the IWM, because
there's a lot of stocks in IWM, like 1 million, and half of them we've never heard of, to be quite frank with you.
Let's talk about the bios, because I know you're really good with the bios when the bios are ready to go. And I've been accumulating the XBI. This is the weekly chart on the XBI. It hasn't gone yet. Here is that 103 area, and here's 111, which I think you can get to. That's kind of like that same, 232. I've been buying the 103 calls for November 15th. It's right where
I think that's the exact time frame. So
right. No,
if you look at IWM at 210 way back when, remember when that was the spot and it couldn't get through and it was there for 3 months? That's XBI at 103.
Yep.
So I truly believe
right here, this channel right here.
Right. And
look how fast it went when it goes.
Right.
Like
so
went through 210 and went to 226.
Yeah, it's going to be in a heartbeat. I really do think it'll be 110 to 115 like that quickly. So I look back last year, that trade did not really start, right? I did the same trade last year from 65 to 100, 105. Didn't really start till the end of October, November. November is notoriously the best month there is for biotech on top of everything else.
Is that because the cancer? Is like the cancer?
Actually, you want to laugh? Part of it, people get done with tax loss selling, and a lot of these stocks that aren't doing well start to rip because they're oversold. That's part of it, believe it or not. Some of it's January effect, some of it is conferences, and then frankly, some of it is just mid and small cap stocks tend to do better at the end of the year when people feel better.
So that's the daily chart. So this is the 103s. So like that's why I'm not gonna be cute here.
Out of fairness, I really have learned IWM, XBI, you got to buy them into levels when they're less attractive. So it was last week I was buying 95. This week I trimmed some, but it's definitely one of my largest positions and I have plenty of bios. I think I'll add and really stick with those ads when we get and close above 103. Like right here, do you buy it? No. Do you sell it?
I own it in this area.
Right.
Now.
It's a great place.
Now you have a bull flag though. Like this next week, if it trades through 150, you could probably buy the ETF, and then you have a void up until here. But I'm tier 1.5, the 103s. I paid $1.70, so I think that's where they are. It's not like I'm
right.
You
have room to add when there's an actionable idea.
And then this is the real level. It's like the same thing with crypto. Everyone's like, crypto is gone so much. I'm like, yeah, on the daily chart, it looks like it went so much from here, but on the, it's in the same spot.
Right. And that's why I really think there's meat on the bone. I can get into the boring parts, but a lot of these companies are actually doing well, whether it be cancer, whether it be weight loss, and there's still going to be a ton of takeovers. So all these big, huge healthcare companies don't have growth. That VKTX is going into obesity week. That's going to be a huge motivation for biotech. That's in, by the way, it's not far from me. That's in San Antonio in the beginning of November. So I'm actually gonna see their meeting. So there's November should be a good spot for biotech. I'm hoping. I've been shocked. This all started early this week. I thought this whole small cap move wouldn't be this week, but this week it led up till TSM. One last thing, Scott, the way it's holding the gap is also really positive from a chartist perspective, right?
Which one, XBI?
XBI or IWM, same thing. They're both very comfortable up here. Like they went up and they're just sitting there absorbing the gains, no?
I don't see a gap in the XBI.
Well, more IWM. IWM led XBI more. I mean IWM this week.
Oh, you mean right here?
See the way it gapped this week? I mean, it's really led for 6 days, and now it's not giving much of it back, is my point.
Yeah, no. If you could hold above a gap and they can't push it in, it usually means you're going in that direction. Like right here, this was that gap on September 13th, and it came back, tested it, held it, and went. So I don't know if this is a gap here, but the longer it holds above 225-ish or 224-ish, the better it is.
Now, because I'm so focused on it, XBI is hard to see, but it this week went from 95 to 100. So basically, I'm saying the longer it can hold 99, maybe the better odds we test 103. But XBI lagged IWM this week. So I was really talking about IWM most of all. Like it seems to really be holding right in front of highs. Like it's going to attack it next week.
Okay, I'll throw it to both of you guys because it feels like IWM and XBI are like perennial disappointers. That it always feels like the big move is coming. So for both of you guys, what are the odds we actually see big moves that stick?
I think this end of the year, I'm pretty comfortable saying November, December. I really think there's a good 70% odds that these work and materially higher. I'm not, Tom Lee.
I'll give it 72%.
What'd you say?
I'll go 72%.
Do you kind of feel 70%-ish though?
Yeah,
Same sort of thing?
I actually have a lot on. Like, I'll be honest, I've lost same way I lost a bunch of money playing the breakout in Bitcoin that didn't work, but now I made a lot of good money. Like, I've tried this a bunch of times. Last time I tried it was here and it didn't work. I tried it here, it didn't work. I'm like, you know what? The ETF doesn't remember that I tried it when it didn't work, but the longer the base, like Dave says, the better the move.
Scott, can you punch up XBI last year at this time? Because it really will be cool to see. Look what happened last year at this exact time.
This is February. This is, I know there's a cancer conference.
Go back to October, November of 23.
Right,
Can you see it?
Yeah, it went from.
Look what the hell happened afterwards.
That's November 13th. So this candle happened November 27th. I might have to
take a look.
Yeah, look at that move from November till February. Like the huge.
I mean, I know because I made a lot of money.
Do it again. You're talking 120.
And now punch up IWM, same exact time frame. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So there's some real potential that's when it happens. Stocks have memory.
But they don't remember if you were wrong early.
No, they don't give a damn.
Right.
They don't care about it. That's why, by the way, I should say options are a little dangerous. Sometimes you have to buy yourself enough time, right? Or you have to go with stock because timing this can be tough. You know, a week or two.
The only reason why I do options because if you're wrong and the idea is wrong, then it's like, you know,
quantify your loss.
I'd rather just lose the money and try again. So, it all depends. Some people have the wherewithal, the time frame, but like for guys that use our rooms, they want to get paid in October and November, December. Like they can't get caught in a shit position that's gonna, go against all their good day trades. Let's talk about that because Mike wanted to talk about how bad I was in the end of August, so we're gonna do it.
What?
Scott was a mess, and Scott came to me for guidance. Scott came to me for guidance, and I sort of helped him out.
Slap me around and say, "Boom! Wake up, Red Dog! Stop it!" I was like, me and Dave talked about this too. Like, so year wise, I feel like I've been right 150 times and wrong 20, and out of those 20 times, this happened to be my most painful time ever in my career since, except for in like 2003.
Oh, the short that period where we kept going higher.
Yeah, so. We did this really well. This was, we broke the 8-day. My thing is when you break the 8-day, you get tactical. You're not in portfolio approach. And then I was at the highs of my year here into the down move. Everyone's like, Red Dog, you're a perma bull. I made money short. I did great. It was awesome. And then I got long and I played it pretty much to probably right around here long really well. I'm like, that's a V bottom. I'm like, now something else has to happen. And then I started shorting premium up here thinking that we would fail at 542 but I started here, so I was like, all right, 535 from 510, how bad could it be? And it could always be worse, and you could always get screwed, and and the market could always do anything, so you always have to know that. So bottom line is from here up I started shorting the 542s, the 544s, the 5. I'm like, there's no freaking way. And then on this day, I don't know if it was the CPI or what it was, but this day I didn't cover, and I probably lost 6 figures that day, and then I lost probably another 6 figures these 3 days, and then in this day I got out of it and I was done. But I wound up going from being in my high watermark, making really great decisions in 30 other names, but in that overly hedge, and then I got long really over here because I'm like, we just had a V bottom, we're going sideways. I was pretty large right here, thinking we were going to break. And then this happened.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
I'm just saying, like, it looked great. Right?
Okay, so I want to say one thing, just because you were joking. Mike said this to you, Mike. I have a dear friend in my room who's made tons of money, right? And they didn't tell me. They're like, all right, I have to tell you something. I'm short 4,000 Qs. They were off like 20 points. I'm like, I'm not short the Qs. The point was, a lot of us hadn't seen a V bottom like that in a long time. I think a lot of people were caught. Like I, luckily enough, was long, but I did buy Q puts a few times and get hurt. I think a lot of people.
That's what I did wrong. If I would have bought the puts,
right, because you know your max loss.
I mean, that 10 grand, 15
that
grand,
move, like
grand.
The first part of it, I was very aggressive. I was very long the Qs, TQQ, SOXL, and so on. So I really hung in there. But that last 20 points on the Qs, a lot of people never expected that in a million
I
years.
didn't think we'd be back at the highs right there.
That was
here.
that
We
was
would
insane.
get like a move to 528 and then go like it happened here, but I thought it would happen here, and I thought wrong, and I just wrote it up, and then I finally switched gears right there, and then that hurt. But since the September 11th reversal, which was right here, by the way, this was the September 11th reversal. I've probably been right maybe 100 times and wrong 3 times, and I think I'm just, as of today, back to my high water mark. Thank goodness. And I always post these videos about the ice barrel, about this, about that, about doing hard things, about building, credits with yourself on, building self-esteem. You come back from being down, $250,000 or whatever the hell it is, slowly and steadily. Like, I posted the video from Creed, like one punch, one round, next, move on. That's what it felt like. And now as of today, there's a big burden lifted, and and
that's nice. That feels awesome. I gotta say one thing, because everyone pretends, especially on Twitter, they do no wrong, and I like to point out when I do wrong, I'll actually write about the trade. Point is, I was with all these traders in Vegas presenting at this show over the weekend, and 4 of us, and 4 some big guys were there, guys who've made and lost hundreds of millions of dollars. One guy like himself. The point was, we all talked about how we've all had massive down months, and there's no such a thing as not having it. I did it. They were asking me, and I was like, I did it short Twitter once after hours. It's like 300-400 grand on a trade. And funny enough, I did it on another short after hours pre-market on, believe it or not, Disney. But the point was, we all have those trades. Sadly enough, for me, it's been when I get too aggressive short. But it happens to everyone. The whole key is fighting back and not giving up when it happens.
And that right now it's 3:49. I'm getting inundated. I have things to manage. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah.
Let's post this over the weekend, because this is, I think, good stuff for traders from any walk of life. We've been doing this a long time. I think we all take, for granted how much we really know about everything. We're in the nuts and bolts. We're all in the in the trenches. Going at it with the market every day, different sectors, using our process, fighting the mind, keeping it strong. And, at this point, if I were to, like, if you look at the SPYs real quick, looks like, a little bit of a doji, still above the 8-day. The election is not for another 2 weeks. We'll keep rotating. We'll keep trying to make sure we don't get caught. Make sure
rotation is the name of the game right now. I mean, we're in the ultimate bull market. Nothing weakens too much. One day it's financials, next day it's big cap tech, next day it's IWM. That's your market. It's the ultimate game of rotation. Like I've told someone, you can't buy the VIX or rely on it too much now, because rotation is the VIX's enemy. We have beautiful rotation. I mean, right now it's Bitcoin, right, today. So there's always something.
People are asking, do we think it's going to be a Bitcoin weekend?
I'm curious what you think. I said, listen, I think Bitcoin has its biggest moves. If you're to look back on the weekends, at least 50% of the time, we're closing so close to 69,000. I said, quote, I wouldn't be shocked to see us over 70,000 this weekend.
Well, I'm long. I did reduce it. I have less IBT on than I had a few days ago. I still have some options on. I still have some of the miners on. So I'm trying to massage it. I sold
some MSTR.
I'm not going bigger into the weekend for Bitcoin weekend.
Yeah, I would never do that. Take your risk early in the week when Bitcoin was 66, 65 and change. Yeah, that I agree.
It held where it had to. It's doing well. But again, it's nowhere. Like, this is the daily chart. You look at your weekly chart. It's like, oh wow, this is the weekly. The weekly hasn't even broken out yet.
Yeah. All of a sudden, maybe we should buy some right now.
Hey, holy cow! It fucking looks awesome. Excuse my French.
But there's a saying, and then I know all of us probably got to go. They'll be like, oh, before you get excited, like, look at the long term, because often it tells you a much bigger picture on where a stock's going, like what Scott just did. Right. Before you get excited about, selling Bitcoin because it's at 71,000. If you look at it long term, you start to think, 80, 90 is coming.
Gotcha. All right, my friend, we should do this once or twice a month.
Absolutely.
Because it's awesome.
Michael, you were very quiet.
We used to be in the same alpha team. We used to be on the same.
Then he kicked me out, told me I wasn't bright enough to be on, and I'm hoping
And he
he
showed
invites
me out. He
back.
built the room bigger than I have.
No, not at all. Thank you, guys. I love both of you for bringing me on.
All right, thanks
All
for
right.
I'm out of here.
Cheers. Where's your tequila?
Cheers. I can't believe I had tequila in the middle of the day. This is only because of him. No one's
like
ever seen me do
The
this.
middle is 1 o'clock. This is like happy hour. Come on.
Cheers. It's actually really good.
You people, you guys in the inner circle and alpha team, you might not want to listen too closely to what these guys are saying in the next 7 minutes.
Goodbye.
All right, later, guys.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Have a great weekend.